Another question I am often asked is how much research goes into a novel versus how much is the author's imagination. People tend to assume that there is more research in historical fiction and more imagination in science fiction. And usually they are correct. Historical fiction. While a historical fiction plot may be purely make-believe, it should be factually correct and woven through the actual events of the times. Research is the way to attain those goals. For instance, in my Civil War novel Kaneka, I introduced a fictional fiancé into the real-life events of Caleb Garner. What Caleb endured in the novel are the actual events he lived through during the war. I spent hundreds of hours researching the war and the times. I also had material from hundreds more hours of research on Caleb's life that was done by my cousin and her daughter. The historical framework depicted in the novel is true. As an example, the book shows that even though the Union was fighting to end slavery, prejudice remained pervasive in the North. Particularly in Washington, D.C., blacks were considered free, but rarely equal. Few facilities were mixed. I'm sure you've heard the term literary license. It is the author's friend when trying to make a plot flow well. Events, not facts, there is a difference, can be moved to a different place and time for the sake of the story. This is the case with my novel in progress, The Wedding, a World War II story set during the German invasion of Poland in 1939. I included a couple of events that actually happened a year or so later in the war because they fit my storyline. The feel of the times and of the war is captured in this manner. But I did not change the historical facts of the war. As an example, the resistance in Poland was eventually called the Armia Krajowa or Home Army, but I couldn't use that term because it was not coined until after the date that my novel ended. Science fiction. Yes, there is typically more imagination than research in most science fiction novels. It depends on the story. Science fiction is literally wide open. The imagination of some of the writers in this field is astounding. There are all kinds of settings, times, creatures dumb and smart, machines dumb and smart, and even different types of physics. In some novels, the physics in the story's location is not the same physics that we know. Still, most science fiction will require at least some research. Occasionally, a science fiction novel will require extensive research. Many of the novels in this field are based on scientific theory or speculation. My novel A War with God is based on a currently popular theory that we are living in a simulation, like a high-level video game. Some scientists have pointed to various phenomena in the universe as proof, or at least the beginnings of a proof for this theory. Infall, another one of my science fiction novels, is based on my own speculation that our universe may be only one of a number of universes expanding from a central point like waves in a three-dimensional pond. Pure speculation, and perhaps not true, but fun to think about. You never know. While there was a significant amount of research required for both novels, it was far less than for my historical fiction novels. So some level of research is needed for most novels, and a significant amount for many novels. It is not impossible for a writer to spend more time researching than he or she does writing.